All right, we're in the second week of July, so I want to find out this week what's pissing everybody off. What made you angry this week? All right, Dre, you start off. What made you angry this week?
So I would say me and Khalifa is definitely one of the ones that pissed me off this week. The simple fact that you're trying to act like you were taking advantage of at the age of 21. I get it. You signed a contract. They paid you $12,000. You did about 11 films or so a little over $1,000 a film. And here it is. You only did it for 3 months. And we still, like, what, 6 years later, 5.5 years later, they're still making money off the clips. I get it. You feel cheated. You feel wrong. But at that point, you get a lawyer. Maybe you try to renegotiate. It'll fail. But you at least try. You're not taking advantage. You was a grown-ass woman when you signed this contract. You were 21, not 18, not 19, not 16, like some other porn stars like Tracy Lords, back in the day, she did to herself. You were 21. That's a college graduate. You chose to do this. You didn't grow up doing porn like back in the 70s and 60s. You did this in the 2000s, the 2000 teens, when you knew of the internet. You knew what social media was. It was young, but it was a thing. The internet was a thing. DVDs were a thing. Blu-rays were just coming out, but you knew it was going to be everywhere. And now all of a sudden, the same industry that made you famous, that made you a name internationally, you're all pissed off at them for still making money off it. I don't see how that's fair to them in any way, shape, or form. You got paid. You did the job. That's it. You signed your rights over. That's it. But you want to make yourself out to be some kind of victim when there are real victims out there who are really taken advantage of. You did the job and signed the contract and got paid because you ain't saying that you ain't get paid. You're worth $3 million and you're mad because people just see you as a porn star. But every porn star, and I know 3 of them, well, on my Facebook, that we are good friends about it. They did it. They live a quiet life now. You don't have to be in the spotlight. If you really, really want a quote-unquote normal career, go away for a little bit. Don't circulate. Yeah, you could be 60 years old, people still going to talk about your porn. It is what it is. It's always going to exist. You can't just delete what happened. Dudes are still going to download it. But you're married now. You want to move on. You want to have family, you want to have a career, whatever. But you chose to do this at 21. You weren't a child when you made this decision. That's the problem I have with her. She's just making it seem like she was completely robbed and taken advantage of when you easily could have said that's not enough money and I'm not going to do this. But $1,000 at 21 might have seemed like a lot. So that's what, maybe a good month and a half at McDonald's? So you could have went that route, but you didn't. But now you want to blame everybody else for making your bad decisions. And you're mad because you're popular and they're still downloading the films. It is what it is. You're 26, 27 now. Let it go. You had your moment. Go become a nurse. Go to Utah. Change your hair. Change the glasses. Just disappear for a little bit. It's okay. OJ had to go away for a little bit. Come back. Mike Tyson go away. He come back. Mike Tyson completely reinvented himself. Michael Jackson tried, but he couldn't escape his fame. But other people have done it who've done far worse things in life. But you want this constant pity party where everybody's got to feel sorry for you because of the choices you made at 21. And you tried to do porn, which you knew was going to be international, which was going to be public, which was going to be out there forever. Even if there was, Pornhub or nothing like that, it's still going to be tapes and DVDs. It's everywhere. It was never going away. And you want them to delete it as if they're going to kill their own cash cow. It's bad for business. If anything, you should have made yourself a franchise and a better name so you can outbid them and buy your rights back, just like a rapper trying to get back his masters. That's what you should have. But you ain't do that now. So she definitely pissed me off this week.
All right. Comments, anybody?
I don't have any sympathy for Mia Khalifa, so.
You said that hoe was worth $3 million?
$3 million. That's her net worth.
Man, listen.
She got over. She got over and underneath.
I mean, all right. So personally, I'm gonna say this. I'm more offended the fact that she's offended. You're a porn star. Like, that's enough said. You already put it out there. So you can't be offended, even if they made money off you. That's the whole point. No one gets rich in porn unless they do it for a whole lot of years, like Jenna Jameson, and make tons of movies. Like, it doesn't happen anymore. So get over yourself. Also, your movies suck. They all suck. They were bad. They suck on the level of the Kim Kardashian tape. So you got paid for sucky videos. Get over it. We're done with you. Go do something else. I see you on Instagram. You cook sometimes. You're like trying to be a chef. And you do other stuff that's not interesting to me either. So I don't know what it is. I don't pay attention no more. But my point is that, cool, you had your 15 minutes. Get the fuck out of here. We don't want to see you no more. We already got the whole Kardashian clan. We don't need you. All right? Boom. Thank you.
Sheesh. Well,
sorry.
I would say, just like every other porn star, she did get fucked over, figuratively and literally. But that's a part of the industry, right? So literally, she came out with $3 million. There's a lot of people like Alicia Tyler who die from a drug overdose or have all kinds of jacked up.
Faded out.
Yeah, you faded out.
She was basically fetishized as a Muslim porn star, or at least gave the image of a Muslim porn star back then.
Oh, we missed it. We missed everything after Alicia Tyler.
Yeah, we sure did.
Oh, she died like at 27 from a drug overdose or something like that.
I did not know that. Wow.
Okay. So there are a lot of porn stars end up like that, either addicted to drugs or just end up broke. She made out being a fetish as well. And I mean, unless she's gonna do like what Diamond Jackson or those other or Jenna Jameson done to basically really brand herself and make herself a business, Sasha Grey. And she needs to just shut the hell up and go away. Go, like you said, go cook something. You're worth $3 million. There's people with real jobs that will never be worth anywhere close to $3 million. Cut it out.
Right. And you put bad quality out there and you're still worth $3 million. You got over. Move on.
Real facts. I know two of those porn stars that are school teachers right now. Okay, so you have to really work to disappear. She don't want to do that. You want the Instagram fame. You want the Twitter fame.
She wants the fame.
Right, but you don't want the shit attached to it. Like, you can't separate that. That's like Michael Jordan trying to be like I am a ball player. Like, that's not gonna happen. You're not gonna divorce that reality. It is what it is. You know. Yeah. So you got a man now. He kind of sort of want to marry you. I mean, we know why. We suspect why, but it's all good. I get it. You don't put sexy photos on your Instagram.
Yeah, I'm with that. So cancel Mia Khalifa. She's out. Before we move on, offline, Dre, you got to let us know the 3 porn stars you know that were in the industry, but they're not anymore. So
not in the industry?
I know you went over that really quickly, but when we get offline, we're going to discuss the names of those people. So all right. So, anyway, so yeah, all right, I'll go real quick. For me, this week, I'm going to go with Kanye West. All right. Kanye has been pissing me off for the last couple years. Now, I thought he couldn't get any worse when I saw him and Jim Brown sitting up in Donald Trump's in the Oval Office and he was kissing Donald Trump's ass. And I thought, damn, Kanye really needs to get on his meds. I thought that was about the worst it could ever be. But Kanye in the last 2 weeks has topped that. He's gone to say he's going to run for president. He has not filed any paperwork. And I mean, I ever thought he was seriously going to do that, but he hasn't filed any paperwork anywhere in any state to do that. And most of those deadlines are pretty much passed. He's gone to say that he doesn't like the Democratic Party because how it treats black people, but he calls it up to Trump until everyone comes after him. And then just a few days ago, if not yesterday, he said, he's not supporting Trump anymore because he himself had coronavirus and he didn't like the way Trump was leading, which brings a whole lot of problems because you didn't have a problem with it all this time, but the minute your ass got coronavirus, now you got a problem with it, which means you give no fucks about anybody else. You're full of shit, Kanye. I'm really pissed that you come from my hometown, man. Like, Kanye West should have been canceled a long time ago. Matter of fact, he's not even Kanye West no more. He's Yeezy, Kardashian, whatever. So fuck him. I'm done with Kanye.
I agree. Had you asked me yesterday, that would have been my answer. But I mean, Kanye West is. I really hope that we find out at some point that Kanye West has some sort of mental disorder to explain his behavior. Because otherwise, it's just an example of how money can twist the mind of an otherwise sane person. They were sane when they were poor, then they got fantastically wealthy, and now they've just lost it. Like, the money has twisted him. Or maybe, you know what? It's probably not even the money. I would blame Kim Kardashian.
It's the curse of the Kardashian cooch.
Something about the Kardashians. Every guy that gets hooked up with them something bad happens to them, or they lose their mind, and they just. I mean, there's not a single Kardashian relationship that ends well. Not one. I can't think of one. What happened to Lamar Odom?
Just a cemetery of former great men that are all just.
Yeah.
Ray J seemed to do pretty well after his breakup. I'm just saying, he ain't crazy.
Well, that's because he put her. He kind of made her more established.
He made her. Yeah,
but
she
he's
wasn't
immune.
famous.
So what? He's immune. So
yeah,
just
it was
saying,
after that. Anything after that, though, is just falling. I mean, think about this. They're players you don't even remember. Dallas was it Miles Austin or whatever, the receiver for the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah.
People forget that, but he was halfway decent receiver, and then after Kardashian, nope. After Kim, nothing.
Reggie Bush.
Oh God, Reggie Bush won a Super Bowl. She broke the interview, and he wasn't the same after that. After the Super Bowl, like he wasn't the same. How many other football players and how many of them were with Chloe? I can't remember. It's a couple guys from Tampa Bay from the Buccaneers. It was like 3 or 4 receivers and linebackers. I mean, it's so many I can't remember their names anymore. Their careers just ended.
Yep. They ended because they got hooked up with a Kardashian.
James Harden was like, "Yeah, I'm good. Go back to Lamar. I'm all right." And look at James Harden's career.
My personal theory is that entire clan is nothing but a bunch of witches who are casting spells on these men to siphon their fame and talent off and use it for themselves.
They're still in their mojo, like Austin Powers.
Yes, they're stealing whatever it is that made these men special. The Kardashians were stealing it and using it to keep their own careers afloat. Because there's no rational explanation for how this continues to happen time after time after time. And Kanye fucked around and married one, and he hasn't been the same since.
Just like Bruce, man.
So they got like that Space Jam pussy. They pals. They just got pals. They just siphon all your pals away.
I mean, Bruce was the worst.
Yeah, Bruce Jenner got so screwed up, he became gay. That's how much they messed with him. He decided he wanted to become a female Kardashian.
And he got Woman of the Year.
And now
That means he's winning.
Winning, that's what I'm saying. He's winning.
And he looks like Kendall or something. Doesn't he? I think he looks like Kendall did a side by side, and it looks like Kendall. This is your future. Kendall and Caitlyn, like it's a before and after. It's like Kendall now and Caitlyn in 60 years.
Yeah, I mean, Kanye ain't been right since his mother died. Though, I don't care. Nobody says with his mom died.
He hasn't been.
That was it. That was it. I think he's still dealing with that. I think all of this you see is him trying to grieve. I don't think he's ever gotten over that. I think the Kanye you see is because his mom died. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying I think that's the focal point for him being the Kanye we miss and the Kanye we got now. His mother died.
I think that was a tipping point.
That was a tipping point, yeah.
Because I personally don't believe that he was particularly sane before that, right? He just did things. You could see that. I mean, listening to his albums, he's a borderline narcissist.
Oh yeah,
nothing borderline about it.
No, he's a narcissist, and he probably has bipolar. I mean, that whole rant with the N-words in Paris, where he went on a 20-minute rant on Jay-Z. I'm like, fam, like, what is going on? A dude hurt your feelings that much where you are wasting people's money at this concert? So that's that narcissism, and he probably was on a high before that, and he was flipping to his depressed side that forced him to do that. And I'm thinking he was probably plagued with that his whole life. And the reason with his mother dying, that was probably his only non-medical support, his true non-medical support that allowed him to deal with his personality and physiological disorders. So when she's gone, the Kardashians step in and provide a fake crutch, but they're vapid and shallow. So he literally descended into madness.
Yeah.
There's definitely
like that.
And that's what you see with him now. It's a problem that's exacerbated by environment and basically environment. Fame, the marriage to Kim Kardashian, that whole thing, he just descended into what we see today, unfortunately.
Well, I hope he goes back to his farm in Wyoming, whatever the hell he's living at now, and go back and create some music from like college dropout and college graduate. Like go back to the first 2-3 albums. That was some dope Kanye. This easy stuff, man. I can't.
What I think he needs to do is stop and go be with his family. Go raise his children. Like honestly, he needs to get out of Hollywood.
Stop making shoes.
Shoes are horrible.
Still looking like his clothing line looks like Jedi hobo.
Hey, people pay thousands of dollars for it, so no
it's the Tatooine collection.
A homeless Tatooine collection.
So I feel bad for him.
I mean, I should feel bad. I used to. I'm just tired. I'm tired of it. I mean, I had sympathy. I had sympathy for him for a long time. Now I just want him to go away for a while. I don't care. Just
I think for his sake, he just needs to go raise your family. Go look at the mountains, man. Go to Yellowstone Park, man. Watch some bears shit in the woods. Get your spirit right. Then come back to us when you get yourself together.
What is watching bears shit in the woods?
If that's not the most natural thing ever, I don't know what it is. You watching nature and nature do something natural.
Okay,
that's a threefer.
I could get with that. I mean, he needs a role model or something because, a hug maybe because, I mean, she did sleep with him, but at the same time, the inner dynamics of that marriage, who knows? But definitely some weird shit there. I definitely just looking at them, I don't see a loving relationship. I see a relationship of convenience. I see convenience. I see finances, but I don't see love.
It's a social, financial, it's about the glam life and publicity. That's the marriage. It's not, I don't see it being a real marriage.
Listen, they're going to be married for a long time because they're the yin and yang of asshole. She is vapid and shallow, literally. And he is so deep that he's insane. And they balance each other out, round and round.
They're each other's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Bam.
That's why
we can't break them up
with them because they complete each other.
Well, then we can't break them up because that'll probably have a catastrophic consequence for everybody else.
Oh yeah, we can't. Except for the vapid and the shallow. She will do her crocodile tears and how the world hates her and blah blah blah.
And so find another athlete or somebody else. Yeah.
Kanye would probably kill himself.
Or make some really dope music.
One or the other. It's a 50-50.
He ain't married. He'll kill himself.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right, that's my rant. I'm done.
So, honestly, the way things are going, I'm experiencing a bit of rage fatigue. So, so much to be angry about all the time that you just get sort of worn out. But I'd say one thing that stuck out to me was today the Supreme Court ruled that an employer can choose to opt out of birth control for religious or moral reasons. So, first of all, let me just say, that's bullshit, okay? Your employer's religious or moral compass should not be the deciding factor on whether the employee gets to have their birth control paid for by health insurance. Right? That's just not how it's supposed to go. And it completely underscores the need for health insurance to not be tied in any way, shape, or form to your job. Right? There's no way in the world that your employer should be making healthcare decisions for you. There's a lot of people who
tab A is itching to hop in there.
Look, there's a lot of people out there who are conservative, who don't like the idea of universal health care or the government providing health insurance for everybody because they say they don't want the government making decisions about their health care. One, that's stupid because if they're providing health insurance for everybody, then every doctor is going to take it. So you can just pick one and it doesn't matter. And two, you're perfectly fine with the company that you work for making those decisions for you because they pick your health insurance plan and then whatever health insurance you have determines what doctor you can go see So you can have been seeing a doctor for 15 years, and your company decides to change health insurance for something cheaper, and now your doctor doesn't take the new health insurance, and you got to pick a new one. Or you're a woman who wants to have birth control pills, and you work for Hobby Lobby or fucking Chick-fil-A or one of these other radically religious organizations who thinks that it's their right to determine that they're not going to pay for birth control for their employees. And now you're sitting there going, well, I like working here, but I really need birth control. So what are my options? Planned Parenthood? They're trying to get rid of Planned Parenthood too. It's insanity. And it goes to show just how devastating not only Mitch McConnell blocking Merrick Garland's nomination was, but the devastation of Donald Trump actually winning the 2016 election. Because if you don't have those two things, you have two liberal justices on the Supreme Court at this point instead of two conservative ones, and this decision goes the other way. This was absolutely a by the party line decision. Conservatives on one side, liberal justices on the other. Conservatives putting the religious freedom of a fucking company, not a person, a company. Companies don't have religious freedom. Companies are not people. Companies don't have rights that individuals have. They just don't. It's an asinine notion to begin with. And so to say that a company's religious position trumps that of a person's religious and moral position is the absolute and utter pinnacle of corporate asininity from the bench. Right? All of these conservative justices, they will always side with corporations. That is their mandate. It's not even necessarily to side with conservative social issues. It's to side with conservative corporate issues. And this is a corporate issue. Corporations want more power and control over their employees. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, that's fine. It's perfectly okay. And that has really recharged my rage fatigue, because as an atheist, it galls me from a religious standpoint. As a person who believes that corporations aren't people, it galls me. Right. And as a person who doesn't think the government should really be telling people what to do with their bodies, it especially galls me, because if I don't want the government telling someone what to do with their body, I damn sure don't want a company, a privately owned corporation, telling people what they can and can't do with their bodies and how to plan their families and live their personal lives.
What's funny about that is that is a Republican point. But yet, when it's about a woman's body, they don't give a damn. They rather control it.
They give no shits.
See,
they want the government out of everything.
Y'all are missing the beauty of this. Y'all are completely missing the beauty of this decision. And you should actually be happy.
Oh, I am. Because it's showing every independent, non-super conservative white person, especially white woman, who either sat out in 2016 or said, give Donald Trump a chance, I hate Hillary in the emails. It's just so them.
That's not the point he's going to make.
Oh, that's tied to it, though. Just because I don't say everything on Facebook don't mean it's not tied to it.
So what's the other one?
I stand corrected, my dude.
This is divine punishment for people staying their asses home going back to 2016 with Hillary. And I don't feel bad for them. No, I do not. Okay? Bottom line. This decision was 7-2. There's at least, 3 women on the Supreme Court now? So that would mean mathematically at least one woman had to also vote for this. So take it as it may. I didn't see who actually voted what, but it was a 7-2 decision. This is going to serve as the necessary catalyst to completely get rid of employer-mandated healthcare, I think, if women are smart. Because that's what needs to happen. You have to have a tragic case like this for change to happen. And this also speaks to the Democratic Party needing to have some balls. Because same thing the Republicans did. You courted the evangelical vote for years, and they ruined that party. And it'd be nice to get all the religion out of the Democratic Party. And if this is going to be the catalyst to do that, so be it. Because I get tired every fucking election cycle. They have to call up some pastor or some priest, or they have to meet up with religious congregations and do the whole world tour when it comes to making policy and fucking platforms to appeal to these people. You have this decision, you let them opt out of the birth control, fine. That means that we will get to set real healthcare, real national policy on the issue. Since you get to opt out, you don't get to say so in shit. That's exactly what that means. That means they don't get to be political. You have to one or the other. You do not get both. And if they're smart, the Democrats will play it that way politically. And they'll go ahead, you know what? You religious folks who don't want to cover birth control, that's fantastic. You don't get a decision now. You don't get a seat at the table. You don't get to set policy. I don't have to meet with you. I don't have to appeal to your base anymore. I don't have to do that because you have your opt-out. You have what you wanted. You wanted out. You don't want to cover these things. You want to stand on your religion. That's fine. That also means you don't get to make any political decisions. You do not get to have political campaign rallies. You do not get to endorse candidates. You do not get to pontificate your ideas on what we should do with these kind of. We can actually get actual policy done instead of every fucking time having to be hamstrung by a religious objection in the Congress and the Senate when it comes to hashing out these bills. This is absolutely perfect.
You know what?
But no, people are going to be outraged and they're going to yell about the decision, but there's a political cost to everything. Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific River clearly establishes that corporations are people. Now, that specific question was not addressed in 1886, but that is the precedent set that they do have 14th Amendment protections, granting equal protection under the Constitution. That's in large part why they won this case today. And if corporations are people, then yes, by vis-a-vis the 14th Amendment and therefore the first, they are people. Now, yes, in reality, corporations are not people, but legally speaking, we've made them into people. So that being the case, they do have religious freedom. Now, if businesses were smart, since we're talking private sector, I would absolutely advertise that we'll cover women's contraception. I might get the best and brightest females to come work for me. Those handful of religious charities and businesses that are going to chomp at the bit for this, maybe you could also do some things with tax provisions by taking away certain exemptions or doing something else with that. There's all kinds of shit in the tax code I'm pretty sure you can exploit if they choose to go this route. It's going to take some time and being creative, but you want to force them out. You want to force them, in my opinion, if you're going to stand on religion, then you have to stand on it all the way. You cannot break the circle. You can't all of a sudden say you're a corporation of religious values and all of a sudden want to get back into the game. This is what they want, fine. You hold their feet to the fire. The Democrats have to have the heart and the stomach to actually say that. And moving them off the board, religious-wise, you could actually build national policy. You could actually build a better national policy as far as healthcare. You could actually come up with systems to actually pay for it. You could actually go through what's going to be covered, and you won't have to listen to these fucking people because as long as you keep taking their money, as long as you keep forcing them to pay for things and they want to cite religious exemptions, they're always going to have to deal with these fuckers in the room. People don't like to hear that, but when you take people's money, they're going to borrow your ear, and you're going to have to make concessions. They do this. They choose to opt out. They choose not to cover it. Don't have to do that anymore. Don't have to listen to words you say. You have your out, leave us alone, go away, go back under your rock. You don't have to deal with you. I get it's negative and it's going to impact poor women and blah, 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 but that was probably going to happen anyway. You know corporations don't like paying for health care. They don't like paying for anything. They're always going to find some way to get out of it. They're going to screw with your hours so they don't have to pay health premiums. They're not going to hire as many people. They're going to hire less women. They were always going to find some way out of it. The only thing we allowed was a different mechanism to do it based on religion. Big companies, even in Massachusetts, as liberal as this state claims to be, a lot of companies don't let people work 35, 32 hours, so they don't have to give them health care provided. So that was always a thing. Now you just give them a beeline and make the reason because of religion. So what's changed? You got Planned Parenthood now. That's what they just made the same decision. Last year, a few months ago, saying they could opt out of that, even though they did reject the stricter laws in the southern states. That did happen. But this is a win for totally different reasons. Get them out of the party. Don't got to deal no more. Don't have to pander to these folks anymore. There's going to be some short-term pain for something long-term that we can actually build that better, at least congressionally speaking. But the Democrats have to be willing to take the reins and do what is necessary.
Well, you're acting under the assumption that people are smart enough to figure that out. Like there'll be some. Well, yeah, but again, we're talking about the American public. The American public isn't that smart.
See, I see it, but
Nor
it's
is the
just like
Democratic Party.
everybody's.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
again,
the women, but again, I think in a simple term, it goes back to the vote. The ones that sat down in 2016, the ones that gave Trump a chance, the ones who are in the center and not so super conservative, and these women who are bothered by it, this affects them. And they will vote on single issue type things like this. No different than Trump saying today he's going to open schools back up. So, he wants to open schools back up. So you're going to get soccer moms that are like, well, my child's in danger. Those kind of things are just going to put them in the polls and make them vote. They're single issue voters. So in that sense, you're right. This is a good thing for the upcoming election. But from the grander scheme, I don't think the public's really smart enough to know how to play this out like that. I think they look at it as, how does it affect me today? If it does affect me, if it doesn't, they don't give a damn. So there are some good points to this, but what you're talking about, this is a utopian outlook as far as everything, all the cards being played perfectly in the long term. And that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Some things will come good of this from our point of view, but not everything the way you said it. In the ideal world, yeah, it's great. Completely down the board, but it won't be.
Or if the situation was flipped, Republicans are very great at their spin machine is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So if things were flipped and they had this situation, they would run this everywhere: radio, podcast, Fox News, everywhere, and they would get this message and they would get people out to vote based on this issue.
Well,
but
our
our tent is a bunch of lame blind cats.
Soft.
Moist.
Democratic Party's moist.
So they're not gonna solidify on this message and lay this case out so cogently.
Yeah.
And more importantly, the people who would be boring, like the Elizabeth Warrens, they would lay out this case. But she's boring and she wears, a pantsuit.
She doesn't curse.
And that's stupid. And that's what our part. We are always trying to follow an image of what it's like. For example, it's like when the Republicans say something and they create a negative image, Democrats try to destroy that image. They fight against these straw men. So it's basically, they create these red herrings for Democrats to follow that wastes their time and basically make them completely ineffectual. So, and the people who actually don't get blinded by these illusory arguments or positions, we don't listen to them. So in the end, Kyle is right. Galaxy Tab A, you are absolutely right. But Kyle is right in that we just don't have the direction or the leadership to solidify that message and, most importantly, execute it.
Well,
so it is utopian from our end.
Well, we already know what the Democratic playbook on this is going to be. They're going to get the women fired up, particularly white. They're going to say how wrong it is. They're going to paint the whole court as sexist and blah, 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 blah. The same particular dog whistles they always play on this side of the aisle. And then they're going to do all that kind of crap. And then they're going to say, vote for us. We're the only ones that can protect you come November, blah, 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 blah. And then what's going to happen is we're going to go through that little spiel and they're going to maybe reverse the decision or whatever kind of legislation they want to come up with. And then we're going to be back in the same fucking boat next fucking election for the next 30 years. That's what's going to happen. And liberals never seem to want to just go for the kill and just accept that the religious people, they put in the money, they put in the taxes, they want to do this, let them go down this path, let it destroy them. Because they're the ones that have the higher rates of teen pregnancy. They're the ones that have the higher rates of STDs. They're the ones that have these pockets of poverty by letting a 16-year-old get knocked up because she can't go to Planned Parenthood. You have to let them crash their car. But we don't have the balls to let it happen. So we're going to be back to square one again. We're going to reverse the decision, or at least try to get judges in there that can reverse the decision. We'll come up with different legislation that kind of protects it. And then the religious right's going to come back with their same bullshit because Republicans are not completely going away. And they're going to get their national campaign machine going. And they're going to appeal to the conservative base. And we're going to fight this same battle all over again. We give Roe v. Wade that we still never won. instead of us just going for the quick kill and get it over with.
Hey,
This is why I hate the Democrats. You gotta take losses on the battlefield to win the war. This is a battle. You lost. Deal with it. And from the ashes, we can do something better to win the war. But they're not going to see that.
That's you're asking for them to develop the atom bomb, and right now they're just trying to, take back some of Germany in a sense. This is just we're just trying to take back the land a little bit. So right now it's when the election, and
They're
that's
trying
it.
to make flint head arrows.
Hey, like Childish, hey, Childish Gambino said it. This is America. All right, what do you expect? You expecting radicalness? It's not going to happen here. This is America. It's back and forth. 2 steps this way, 1 step that way, 1 step this way, 2 steps that way, and that's all it's ever going to be. All right.
No, it's 10 steps right, 2 steps left.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
15
pretty
steps right,
yeah.
4
Either
steps
way,
left.
Yeah, either way it goes.
Everything is moving towards the right,
right.
which
Yeah,
is wrong.
yeah. And until it's because of the money. We know that. But at the end of the day, it's America. You're not going to have radical left change. You never will.
It's
Well, we
It's
don't have those
because
kind of
of the
people. We don't
message.
have those kind of people in the party. Everybody's toxic. So if I ran for a political office right now, my Facebook page alone would cause them nightmares.
Well, again,
don't have
we're
the right
we're talking about the sensitivity of the cancel culture and all the people's feelings and hurting all the other bullshit. So we know. So Sean's
They
right.
complain when they lose, but then they complain when they lose all the fucking time.
Because
They
they're
complain.
bitches. Because they're bitches. We know it. That's why they're bitches. The Democrats are a party of bitches. But at this point, we got to take the Democratic Party of bitches over the Trump Party. So that's fine. That's it.
I wouldn't call them bitches. I would call them pussies because bitches don't lose. Bitches will beat your motherfucking ass.
Okay, then they're just moist. We're gonna claim it that
Moist.
they're just the moist party. All right, they're moist.
I can't stand this, yo.
They're-
They Duncan Hines. They
I
Duncan
can't
moist.
Hines.
stand it, man. Like,
They're
I can't
moist.
stand it, though. I can't stand it. It's like
Alright.
I see the obvious, man. And we keep doing this and shooting ourselves in the foot, and we just don't want to go for the win. Just don't want to go for the win.
Because they're moist. You can't. Hey, listen, a moist cake ain't gonna be firm. All right. So anyway, all right, Hannah. What pissed you off this week? Let's go to Hannah. We'll see what pissed him off this week, if anything. I mean, he's like the Incredible Hulk, I guess. So
Like I said, I'm always angry, but just being in an environment, I guess, just being in an environment where people believe that what is it, the Kruger-Dunning or the Dunning-Kruger, where people
Dunning-Kruger effect.
Dunning-Kruger.
that where they believe that they're smarter than they are, they're more effective than they are at doing their jobs. So having to deal with people like that who are bad at their jobs, I wouldn't say bad, who are mediocre, who like the stereotypical millennial would say, hey, I've done X, Y things. You basically did your fucking job, and now I deserve Y rewards. No, you deserve to keep your job because you did your job. You shouldn't get any fucking promotions or praise because you did your fucking job. And so I have to deal with some of these wonderful individuals, and it just gets exhausting. So I'm not even mad because I'm always angry, but it's just exhausting having to maneuver, cajole, and manage these different personalities, especially when you come from a place of you're not really in their group, but you're in their group, so you don't really have any real power beyond what you can do to influence people to act. And it just gets exhausting. It's the hubris of, well, I've been here for X amount of time, and I basically I just woke up and turned on the damn computer, so I deserve this. Well, did you do the shit that we asked you to do last week? Nah. Well, I thought someone else was supposed to do that. No, the email says that your punk ass was supposed to do this. Did you do it?
Now their feelings are hurting, so they can't because they're offended that you said that.
Yes. So that's it's really short. It's really personal, but it's
generational. Honestly, it's generational, and probably pisses us all off because we're not part of that millennial, and then whatever the new generation after millennial is. But everyone they were raised in an environment where they get trophies for showing up,
and it's not, and that's why I said stereotypical, because it's not just that generation. it's the older generation as well. Like young boomers, older generation.
The
Huh?
hell is a young boomer?
Look at Trump.
A young boomer is basically someone in their early mid 50s.
Ah, okay. Just near the
Actually,
number.
in their mid 50s,
Uh-huh.
close to 60. That's a young boomer.
Yeah.
So it's like all of you in this environment really think that you deserve these things, and you don't know what you're doing, and what you do, you don't do particularly well. What gives me hope is that there are some really smart, really hardworking people in the same environment. I say stereotypical, but just to clarify what I meant, Kyle, was that I only use stereotypical because in my experience, even though millennials do expect rewards after they do things, in my experience, they actually bust their ass to do it. Like, they're very ambitious.
They are. No, I agree with that. They are ambitious.
But
yeah.
in real life, just because you work hard doesn't guarantee you a reward. And that's something that they needed and need to learn.
That's why they can't get laid.
That's Gen Z. That's those little young incel dudes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying, they
Well,
instant gratification. I took you out for a burger. Hey.
Well, they're used to. Well, again, they're also used to a society where everything is now. I mean, that you think about it. When we were kids, we didn't have internet, so we had to do papers about research through encyclopedias and going to the library, and we're looking at books that might have been published 4 and 5 years ago. So that was how we did it. Whereas now, you Google anything and it comes up. So that's a generational gap divide that you raise in an environment where what you want is at your fingertips and comes immediately. So therefore, you think everything's supposed to be like that. And and as far as older people, like the younger boomers and people after that,
to do something last week, it's supposed to do next week. Get it done for the next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it's at your fingertips. My point in exclaiming that is, you have more tools and resources than we did 10, 15, 20 years ago when we got into the workforce. We had literally the same job, less digital access, less digital mechanisms to get the work, and more people to communicate it with.
Yeah.
And we did more work.
Amen to that. Yeah, that's true.
So you have the Skype, you have the Jabber, you have the Blue Jeans, you have the Dropbox, you have all of these things, and you can't get your job done.
Yeah, we had the copier machine. We had the copier machine, and maybe at the time the newest shit was the fax machine.
We barely got past the ditto machine.
Copy and paste was brand
new. Everything was purple.
The ditto machine with the ink. Yeah, you're right. It was different. Yeah.
And the green light.
Oh.
Now, for going back to what you said about the younger boomers that act like that, I think there is a burnout factor too with some of the older generations. They're not in the same way. I don't think they're the same as the younger generations where they want the instant gratification, and I think they just got burnt out and they don't give a damn anymore. They become complacent, which happens a lot of times as you get older. You become complacent and you're like, I've done this. I'm tired. I don't give a shit. I just pay me my money and that's it. Especially in the federal government.
Well, it's called seniority.
It was laziness, but yeah, you can disguise it as seniority. Still laziness. To me, it's laziness. I call it laziness. But the difference is, I don't think they need the safe space to tell them that they're lazy. They might not like it, but you can say it. You tell somebody, you tell somebody younger that they'll collapse and they're done. I can't come back. You said something negative about me.
Boomers are similar in the fact that they both feel entitled. They are two entitled ass generations.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen, you tell them because now I am this. I have seniority. And it's not just generational. It's that particular generation that really feels that I lived through the 60s and Woodstock and did all this shit. Greed is good. This world is built off of our backs, our hard work. No. But they feel entitled to have that idea that they deserve these things. And if you tell them different, They're just
Yeah.
as fragile as their
Yeah.
youngest children or grandchildren, the millennials, because they raise them to be fragile
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that
And,
they should have the same level of entitlement as they do.
and entitlement is full of shit. I'm sorry. I hate entitlement, but maybe because I'm a black male, and so entitlement is the furthest thing for me. Because I don't think that we get to be entitled. Society didn't let black men be entitled for me. So I have a hard time understanding and relating to entitlement, as well as interacting with people who have entitlement issues. So I'm probably the wrong person to talk to them because I'm going to hurt their feelings in their safe space. It's just how it is.
Well, you definitely not gonna like the white feminists on Twitter because man, they be deep in their fucking feels about shit all the time. It's like
Yeah,
you're white.
I don't do well with them
female,
either. So yeah, I mean,
You
it's just an environment I don't understand, and I don't think many black males do understand that because we can't be entitled by these.
Nah, it's the way it is. They get to be what they are, complain about small things. Circle back to what we started talking about originally. They are entitled, and we've made them that way. They're coddled because their ideology allows them to be that. They don't have to work as hard for anything. They don't want to, and have contributed greatly to them being much softer to these things, especially women. If you're a man, you get nothing. No one's going to come and rescue you. But if you're a woman, there is some dumb dick, poor schmo, ugly bastard who will take care of you at some point. It might not be the dude you want, but some dude will come along and do it for you. So that's just the way it goes. Pussy is valuable, dick is not. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Even though the price of pussy has plummeted.
Well, the robots ain't come out yet, so it hasn't plummeted where it needs to be yet, but it is cheaper.
It's falling. It's falling.
It's falling.
The process of falling.
If you get an older one, it's a lot cheaper. Y'all messing with these young ones out there. It's too much work. I'm like working that hard. Too much work. I like
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can close up on that. So this week we're gonna entitlement sucks. Fuck entitlement. You know, fuck the conservative Supreme Court and all the dumbass voters that allowed Donald Trump to pick justices. Fuck Mitch McConnell. We'll throw him in on that as well. And yeah. Fuck Kanye and
stay away from no Kardashians, yo.
Yeah, fuck Kanye and all the Kardashians. I would say fuck Mia Khalifa, but a lot of people did that already, so we'll just say cancel Mia.
It's only 3 months. Couldn't be that big. 11 films.
So we won't say fuck Mia Khalifa because it's been done a lot. Just go look on the internet. So yeah, we'll cancel her. All right. So let's see what happens next week. What pisses us off next week. All right.